If you feel lost in life, just listen to what I have to say really quick because I have been there many a times and I've done a lot of research. I've talked to a lot of people and I've done a lot of synthesizing to get to where I am now. To have a level of clarity, confidence, and consistency in my life. And to explain how to get to this point, I will do a quick story of my background and where I come from. So, when I went to college, I went to go study business. Well, actually, that's not true. I went to college and I didn't know what I wanted to study. So I chose business because it was the broadest degree I could get, and I knew I could probably get a job anywhere with that degree because I didn't want to do general studies. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go with business. And at that point, I thought I might go into like the music industry and the music business industry because I was a minor in music and I was really into music at the time. But to make a long story short, as you can see, I was not exactly clear on what I wanted to do with my life. But what I was clear on was what I didn't want to do with my life. And I didn't want to go the traditional route. I didn't want to go into like finance or banking or accounting or healthcare administration or any of the general tracks that the students were taking in my department. I hated being at a desk. I hated being on Excel. I just hated wearing a tie and a button. Like I just did not enjoy it. And I knew if I went that route, I was going to be absolutely miserable. So what I did was I started a podcast while I was in college, and essentially I used the podcast as my own form of education. So I would reach out to people on LinkedIn and other platforms who were living a life that was more professionally and personally aligned with the actual life I was trying to build. And I would interview them and I would learn different things. This show started off called The Muse Report, and then I changed it to the Build Your Vision podcast, which still exists to this day. And what I learned with talking to like over 65 visionaries, interviewing them, was that they had three elements that they all had in common. All of them had these three things. That was clarity, that was confidence, and that was consistency. They were clear on what they were trying to do and what they were trying to accomplish. They were confident in their competency, like to actually do the thing. Even if they weren't at the point that they wanted to be at, they were going to do the thing because they knew they were good at it. And number three, they were all consistent. They stuck with the thing that they were trying to do until it worked. And if it worked, they kept on doing it. And when I saw that, it was like such a broad chasm between the people who I knew were talented, gifted, had all the things, but yet were not doing anything with it, and the people that were. And I was like, well, they all have these three things. So that means the people who are not doing these things, who have all the stuff, all the chops to do it, need to do these three things. And that's when I really, really started to deep dive into understanding clarity, which is the point of this video. You getting clear on what the heck you're supposed to be doing with your life. And when I did this, I was working a job. I was a producer at a radio station, and I went through this period of like radical immersion, of studying the brain, of understanding how businesses work in human psychology, of understanding human motivation in sociology, and three transformational books and people changed my life during this period of time, which I will introduce to you in this video. The first one was a book called Find Your Why by Simon Sinek. It was really written by two other people that work with Simon Sinek, but he was famous for his best-selling book. I think it was like a Wall Street bestseller called Start With Why. This is a companion book that I actually think is even more powerful than the original. And it literally changed my life. And I'll explain more later. The second book was A Million Miles in a Thousand Years by Donald Miller. This book was also transformational in me reshaping the paradigm that I see the world through. And actually, it really revamped and changed my productivity as a visionary. And number three was The Practice by Seth Godin. And this essentially talks about you developing the habit, you developing the understanding that shipping your work is a key part of being a professional at whatever you do. Whatever you want to do with your life, you have to do it consistently, which goes back to the three C's: the clarity, confidence, and consistency. If you are doing this work and putting it in a, safe or a trunk or hiding it in your closet, you're not really doing real work. It's you giving your work to the world that makes it true work or true art. And these three pillars transformed the way that I went about living. And it made me a much more clear, confident, and consistent individual that was actually able to find fulfillment and not feel lost no matter where my life actually was. Whether I felt like I was succeeding or whether I felt like I was failing, I was clear about who I was trying to become, what I was trying to do, and what I was trying to accomplish. So, what am I trying to say in this video? The biggest problem that I see when it comes to people who are trying to figure out what their purpose is or not be lost or um, just get understanding of like what God has called them to do with their life is that they go outwards searching for their purpose, searching for some type of significance, searching for meaning. And the actual process that goes into doing this effectively is not looking without, but looking within. And it's actually a strategic process that you can go through to unlock the themes of your life that have literally always been there from the time you were born until 1 second ago. And it so accurately depicts why you are here, what you are naturally inclined and called to do, and then restructuring that through the second principle of that I just talked about through the second book, restructuring that into a plan of how you approach life daily, and then turning that daily approach of your life into a piece of work that can be shared with the world. And this is the key that every successful visionary, this is the process that every successful visionary goes through. And it's one of the most fulfilling processes that you will ever experience in your life. It is an amazing thing when you are clear about what you're called to do, when you have a process for doing that, and you have the motivation and framework to do it sustainably, and you ship that work out into the world so that it can impact others. This is what I want for every single individual. This is why I'm making this video. And on this channel, I'm going to be doing that over an extended period of time. I'll be getting to exactly how I went about this process, how you can go about this process, and how it can be done effectively and accurately so that you will never be lost again and have a North Star. But basically, your key takeaway from this is you getting clear on what you're supposed to do, you not being lost anymore, you feeling all over the place. It's not about looking without, it's not about finding the thing that you're called to, or it's not about finding the job that you're perfect for, or finding the person that will make you happy. It's about you actually looking over your life strategically and finding the key points that point to the reason why you were made, the reason why you were created. And this is the most accurate form of having purpose, of not feeling lost anymore. And you go through a 3-step process that I will share on this channel. It is discover your why, document your story, develop your practice. Discover your why, document your story, develop your practice. This is for clarity, this is for confidence, this is for consistency. If you master these things, you will be light years apart from all of the competition. I'm telling you, this is going to help you excel in your personal life, your relational life, your professional life, your entrepreneurial life, if that's what you want to do. It will help you in every aspect. You will show up to rooms differently. You will show up to work differently. You will show up in your relationships differently because you are clear, you are confident, and you are consistent. And most people are none of those things. And the point of this channel, the point of this podcast I do, all these things, is that we have to make clarity common. Right now, clarity is rare. If you have clarity about your life, you are a small percentage. You're in the top 1%, which is crazy. But it's designed that way because if you are confused, you are controllable. I'm not going to get into woo woo conspiracy theories, but you see where I'm going with this. If you are confused, you are controllable. So, what would it be in the best interest of those powers that be other than to keep you in a confused state of being? They can control you. You can be controlled when you aren't clear. You can be controlled when you're not confident. You can be controlled when you're not consistent. If you want freedom, if you want control over your life, if you actually want to be fulfilled, if you want to be what I call living a clear life, that means serving people, pleasing God, and fulfilling yourself. Subscribe to this channel, share this video with somebody. Hopefully this resonated with you. I know I didn't give all the answers, but that would be a pretty long video. Stick with this channel. I'm going to be breaking it down. And I actually have a complete school that explains this whole thing. I've already put it together. This is a part of the work that I've already shipped. Like I'm speaking this because I've already done it. You can go to buildyourvisionpodcast.com/community and sign up. It's completely free to get in. Or you can just click the link in the description. I'll put the link there. But like, I'm sharing with you the process that I went through. Hopefully this was helpful to you. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.